Hello, this is C. Marshall, and these are my thoughts on Offworld Trading Company, an economic real-time strategy game from Civilization IV's designer Soren Johnson. It's a pretty exciting sentence. Currently, it is in early access, and it is $39.99. Well, right now it's $35, I think, because it's on a sale, an introductory sale. This game really reminds me of a more convoluted digital version of Settlers of Catan. It's built around the acquisition of hex-based tiles that produce resources, and just generally trying to screw over your opponents without any form of combat. And it really works. If you've been looking for a competitive RTS with a focus on financial gain over building an army, this is probably for you. But the game is highly priced and it has its flaws. The games all start out the same and it's pretty familiar for most RTS veterans. You plot around trying to decide where to build your base. This takes a few seconds as you scan the local area and look for good resource points so you can build and grow accordingly. Having a more compact base gives you a lot of bonuses, but it makes you pretty damn vulnerable. At first I was worried about the depth, but this game is quintessential, easy to learn, fucking impossible to master. I wouldn't really call it easy to learn, but you can certainly understand how things are going to work the moment the HUD comes in. The left side is a constantly evolving list of resources which can decrease or increase in price depending on the demand. It's this mini stock market kind of thing that is a great time to play around with, especially when you start building hackers who can trick the market prices or create little patents to give you bonuses. This alone could probably drive the game, because it's inherently satisfying to have such a close connection with how these prices fluctuate. And when playing with other humans, it keeps you on your toes. People with trust issues need not apply. But this isn't it. There's base building, player stock options, auctions, and a ton of special buildings and tools to help yourself or fuck over the others. The base building is bare bones with a few buildings affiliated with each resource, each having their own advantages and disadvantages. And resources that often sell for high prices or are fundamental for base upgrades can require a few ingredients, forcing you to have all your eggs in one basket and depend solely on selling and producing that resource, or to spread your arms out wide and have a little of everything. It's all about money, and if you're making it, then you're in the clear. Auctions are a really cool inclusion, especially when playing with other people. Trying to trick your opponent into spending far too much money on something you really don't need is hilarious. These auctions are for a few things. You can hire freelance pirates or bid on new plots of land. And if you aren't interested in participating, the game gives this little info page called the Quarterly Report showing rankings in debt, expenditures, or just money gained. It gives you a little bit of entertainment while the others bicker amongst themselves. In terms of things to hinder your opponents, there are a few options as well: EMPs, bombs, underground nukes, and such. We can also purchase things called goon squads, which protect single buildings from an attack. Pretty sure EMPs are worse than anything else in the game right now. If used right, they can seriously fuck you over. The game is won when you acquire all of your opponent's stock, which makes you the owner of their company. This is an extremely expensive endeavor, and it keeps tension high, especially when stocks start getting bought en masse and you have to scramble to get your foot in the door. And it can be pretty stressful. Thankfully, you can alter the game time freely, even pausing single-player matches to take a breather. But doing all these things is unnecessarily difficult. First, the UI is just terrible. Text doesn't fit properly in some of the boxes, it runs slowly, even if your computer's running the game at 60 frames per second. And sometimes you get no feedback when you press a button, which leads you to accidentally stack multiple instances of things. They also desperately need to add more indicators on events. There's an overwhelmingly quick stream of info in the bottom right corner, and if you get bombed or EMP'd, it takes a second of looking around to determine what was hit. The game drenches you in so much info, it just gets impossible to parse. And right now, the tutorials are worthless, giving you a few paragraphs of help and then throwing you into a game with some training wheels. To learn, you just have to bite the bullet and play through some matches, which can last anywhere from 20 minutes to over an hour, depending on the balance of competition. As it stands, the game is something I've been waiting for a long time. It's something I've been wanting for a long time, and I didn't even really realize it. I've always been a turtler in RTSs, preferring to stay back and make large empires before venturing into battle. And in my opinion, the battles were always the least fun, always devolving into a mess of explosions and crossed fingers. In Offworld Trading Company, it's all about building and making money, and I really enjoy it. The game price is weirdly high, and I worry about it lasting because of this. Multiplayer is a pretty important aspect, and you can only get so much out of the little skirmishes they allow. But currently, I definitely recommend some healthy curiosity. Thank you so much for watching.